with some concrete advices, some practical stuff that you'll be needing for your projects. Oh, we forgot about project presentation. Oh, we'll do that after coffee break, just so you guys know. Okay, after coffee break, you'll have your project presentation. That's why we have some extra time.
Sorry.
What I will talk to you about is actually what I will be mentoring you about is how to prepare, how to do science communication in short formats. If you have 1, 2, 3, 5 minutes, I'll put some emphasis on actually how to make that work in a video format, which is something that Mirza will know more about, will focus more about, but I'll give you some general pointers how to go about talking science in a short amount of time in different occasions. Now, the first step in that is basically the first, a very important step is to step outside of your bubble, basically, and leave basically everything that you've learned so far about science, that you have to be, you know, in your studies, that you have to be formal, there are rules, there are definitions, and, you know, you cannot just talk whatever you want. I mean, we know how physics basically works. So the first step in actually talking about science, scientific topic in a few minutes, would be to drop all that. So drop all the rules or the formalities, because that just takes a lot of time. So, and that, in my experience, that is really uncomfortable and very difficult for a lot of scientists, especially those in physics, because they really want to be, and in math, they really want to be precise, you know, about definitions, what this means. Well, it's not quite that, well, this is wrong. So when I do science communication, sometimes they'll complain, this is incorrect. Sure, we don't have to give everyone all the gory details immediately. So you have to, that's the first step, to be comfortable with that idea that whatever you'll be talking about will not be 100% scientifically precise and correct, for the benefit of making it clear to people who don't have that huge background. So some relevation, so some information, some details is not important at a specific level. So that's the first step. Now, I mean, this communicating science in a few minutes is actually advanced science communication. It's really tough to talk about whatever you want in a few minutes, you know? So it takes really some skill. So at first, I'm sure it's going to be very difficult for you, but you know, as you get better in this, it's going to get easier. So, but it's good, you know, to immediately try the hard stuff, because it will make you work harder. And the main problem there is basically you're so limited with time, so you really have to choose your words wisely and carefully, right? You cannot waste your words on information that is not going to be useful for the point you're going to make. And another important thing in doing things in 2, 3, 4 minutes is thinking about what can I do to make this memorable, to make this stick, this idea stick in a few minutes, right? Not just I've listened to some random 3-minute video, who knows, and I forget. But so what do I do to make it stick? And that is really important for short science talk. Now, this is true for all science communication and actually all good talks. It's about connecting, basically. That is what makes it stick with the audience. If you connect with the audience at some level, make it somehow important for them. So either connect to them with, we share the same fears, tell some personal things, and somehow connect with the topic, or some hopes and so on. So make it sort of personal, make it human, be honest, for instance. So, for instance, this is from a TEDx talk I gave a while back, and I always tell this story when it asked me about how did I get into astrophysics, about this cartoon I watched when I was a kid, and it essentially is from the book Horton Hears a Who by Dr. Seuss. I don't know if you guys know it. This little elephant that goes through the woods hears voices coming from a flower. As it turns out, there is a whole world living inside a flower who were unaware of existence of a world beyond them. So my question was immediately, how do we know that we are not in a flower, and so on? So that got me interested in astronomy and in cosmology when I was 8 or 9. And the reason why I tell this story, well, it's true, but it's sort of that sort of personal information I share with people, and helps them remember that, and helps them care more deeply about the topic, and they remember it. So that's something. That's how we connect with the audience. That's important for when you do science communication, when you're a lecturer, just to sort of make some connection with the audience. And if you're being personal, that sort of immediately you share some joint experience, helps you connect. Also, it's about connecting with everyday life. So if you talk about scientific topic, and it's important not to make that topic sound too abstract and too far away from people, from their everyday lives. Find a way that that idea sort of connects to something that they encounter in everyday life. So for instance, if we talk about telescopes and astronomical observations, tell them that, they use their phones for selfies and whatnot, and it's digital images that were basically developed because astronomers wanted to record and take snapshots of the space in greater detail. And if you're talking to them about some discoveries in CERN, tell them that that is a place where World Wide Web basically was born. So find some way, whatever topic you choose, so that whoever is listening can connect with that topic on some, everyday life sort of level. That will happen, make it stick better. Or for instance, this is the thing. So I was looking at this. Well, actually, I was thinking about in connecting with the everyday life object. So a few days ago, I was thinking about the contour plots in physics and statistics, and I was looking at how to explain things. And you know what is there? So basically, contour plots that you had some, something like that. And what does each of these circles means? So basically, these are all circles or lines that basically have the same value along the third axis, which is either some third parameter or function value. Or usually it's a probability. So essentially, it's a 3D sort of function. And if you do projections at the same level, you get this contours plot. And I was thinking, wow, I can easily explain that with just collapsible cup. It's a 3D object, collapses, and here we have 3 contours. And so I'm always trying to think about, okay, how can I explain this with something that it's not abstract, that it's something from an everyday object that can make more sense. And if you have something like that to show, then it's much easier. Well, thank you for this. Anyway. And also it's about connecting on familiar level, right? So especially with things that are scary. So when I talk about radiation, so my area is particle astrophysics. So there's a lot of radiation from cosmic rays from space. So I have to touch the topic of radiation. Radiation is something that people are scared about, right? So I know my mom was always freaking out when I have to do an X-ray, or so it's radioactive and radiation, and it's scary. So I always connect to them with something like, well, listen, when you fly, there's more cosmic rays, you're exposed to more radiation. So basically, the dose you get, like flying from Nome or somewhere there to New York is like 0.05 millisieverts. It's some unit that we use for radiation, how much energy a kilogram.
Price.
Huh?
You actually got the price. Or
Yeah, Google does it for you. That's what costs you in radiation, that's what costs you in currency. Yeah? So that's some radiation unit, it's not scary, it's like, oh, is this too much? And I say, well, look, but also bananas are radioactive, right? And they have like 0.1 of the microsievert, that unit. So basically, that's like flying there. It's like eating 500 bananas in that trip. So it's 500, you would be sick, I guess. But it's a banana. It's a non-threatening thing, as opposed to radiation, too scary. So, and also, bananas are GMOs. If you talk about myths and science communication, pseudoscience, so yeah, bananas are GMOs. So and people have no problem eating a banana, or you know, like with vaccines, and when you talk about toxic things inside. So you can make a point. It's about a dose by telling them with the almonds that have is it arsenic or cyanide? Some of the cyanide. Yeah. You have an issue eating almonds. Oh, it has cyanide. So, but it's a minute doses. So it's about connecting with some things, so talking about science, but somehow putting an effort to connect to something that people use every day. They've seen everything in their lives, so that they are familiar with the topic. So, and then all those rules generally apply to every time you do science communication in long, short formats, written format. It's always good to sort of find that connection, because then people are more open to actually accepting that and listening to you and remembering that. Now, what are some specific things that you need to worry about if you want to communicate a given scientific idea in a few minutes, right? In minute science. So, as I said, it's really difficult. So you really first have to have a plan. Okay. So you know you want to do it in short, and you can talk, about the same topic in short or long format, but in completely different ways, depending on who your audience is, what you want to achieve, and what platform are you using. Is it live, is it YouTube, is it TikTok, is it or whatever. So, and it's going to be the same topic, it can be the same 3 minutes, but it'll look completely differently. So the first thing, when you want to think about, okay, I want to communicate science in 3 minutes, is to decide, okay, what you want to achieve, who's your audience, and what platform you're going to be using. Now, who's your audience? Okay, so think about that. What's the general demographic? What's their background? What's their age? What is the one most relevant piece of information about them? If it's kids, then it's age. Okay, well, what do 5-year-olds know? If it's different education, if you do go to some rural areas and so on where people are not exposed to much. So is it, young adults like Generation Z, are you talking about X, Generation X, and so on. So different formats will work for different groups. So for instance, if you're talking about to younger audience and Gen Zs, it should be more, sort of informal language. You can definitely use it online. You can make it even in a challenge sort of format, People have challenges, and we'll do a challenge with doing some experiments and so on. So it has to be fun. So for instance, there are different science communication. I'm going to be focusing mostly on YouTube, but so let's see. This is, can I, how will we make that work? You need to escape, I guess. Crazy Russian hacker. I don't know if you guys know it. He has some fun stuff with science. He has other useful things, but it's fun, and videos are like short, 2 few or 5 minutes long, and it's really, it's interesting. It'll be more interesting to younger audiences. So I'll have all the links in this presentation. Where are we? So, okay. So yeah. So if you're looking to older generations like Gen X, so you can get away with being even more formal and even a bit more longer. But Gen X would also be okay with having stuff, being stuff online. So a good example of something that Gen X would enjoy, I guess, would be, let's see, are we? So, do you know about Veritasium?
It's a great one.
Yeah, it's a bit more formal, a bit more scientific. It's like 10 minutes long. There are less of a jokes and fun things, but it's really informative, and it's light and it's fun, and it's in good language. What else? So if you want to talk to general public, for instance, then you want to take a middle approach, middle style, so you don't know who the visitor is going to be. So for instance, Tad has great videos, like 5-minute videos, sort of cartoony, but formal enough, and it's really, I think, young ones would love it, old ones, so it's sort of middle ground. There is nothing worse in there. What else? Random visitor. If it's a random visitor who stumble upon there, if you want to focus on them, they didn't purposely search for science information. So you want to do it something on a beginner level with really everyday language, really, really short and fun. So a good example of that would be something like minute physics. It's really minute. I can hold my attention for 1 minute. It's cartoony. It's not too scary. So for everyday, I can take 1 minute of science video a day. That's fine. That will not scare anyone. If it's someone who's a science fan, so has some experience in science, maybe doesn't work in science, but has read enough, it's science buff, so you can go to more advanced level. You can use even technical terms. People sometimes like to learn a new technical term. So and you can go with even longer formats. So for instance, a Vsauce is a good one, right? So videos are even longer, 20-something minutes. There's some technical language, but again, still you learn something new. It's not too much. And if your audience are maybe parents, a lot of times parents want to help their kids with science, give them some activities, and so basically a good example of that would be, for instance, there's the Dad Lab. So this is the guy who basically does a bunch of experiments, and they're his kids, and he just creates those experiments, like activities you can do with kids and so on. It's really fun and short and so on. So again, like I say, depending on who's your audience, you wanna decide on a format. You wanna change your format. So that's the first decision you want to make, right? Who do you want to direct this to and make this for? And then you have to want to decide. So what is your goal? What do you want to achieve? Do you want to educate others? Do you want to educate yourself? Then pick something that you don't know and learn about it and make yourself explain it in a few minutes. That's how you learn. Do you want to raise awareness about the topic? Then you make it more of connecting with everyday lives of people, making them care about that topic. Then you add that level of connection, make a point on that. So, are you preparing a 3-minute presentation of science topic for a science competition, like Fame Lab, Science Labs? So then it's a different goal. So if you want to educate yourself, pick something that you, others, pick topic that people are interested in. So if you want to educate others, you want to decide, what do people want to know? So don't go with, what do I know? What do I want to know? Go with, okay, what do people want to know? What do people ask me? What do people want, and give them what they want. If you want to raise awareness, make it personal. If you want to educate yourself, pick something that you want to learn about and try to explain it in few words. If you want to win a competition, then it's a different ballgame. Then you pick a topic, but you also have to consider factors like, am I going to be nervous or not? So when I was in that Fame Lab competition, I had a great topic, but it required a prop. And I'm really nervous in general. I struggle with that, but so my hands were shaking. I was like, okay, avoiding topics with props would be a good choice for me because you have to consider all the factors. So decide on who's your audience, decide what you want to do, and then eventually choose your platform. How do you want to present it? You want to do things live, some live performances online. You want to use platforms like YouTube, maybe for younger ones. You want to put it on TikTok, Instagram. Is it something you're preparing for TV, for some commercial and so on? So again, if it's live short presentations, like for instance, TEDx talks, and as for some educated audiences, older audiences, then then your talk basically looks a bit different. So here's a TEDx talk I did in some gymnasium in Aristad, but my presentation, so I made it more personal. Let me see if I can get to my presentation. There's not many words there and so on, but if you want to give a live short presentation on a competition like Fame Lab, Science Lab, so then you think about, okay, there's jury, I have to convince the jury, I'm not allowed or I am allowed to use slides, can I use props or should I not use props? So that decides on how you want to approach this. Is it slides, is it just me talking, is it me singing, is it dance your PhD so you're dancing? So decide the format. Yeah, if it's on YouTube, well, what do you want to make? Do you want to make a series of videos on different topics, so have different playlists? Is there going to be some common theme, like drawn 1 minute of physics videos? YouTube is also, do you want to earn money about it, right? You can earn money about YouTube, so you have to think about that. So, picking a topic, if I want to earn money, so how much audience this is going to attract, one format, and so on. So you have to decide what you want to achieve with all of that. And then, because it's really a short presentation, when you decided all this, and you picked your topic, the next thing you want to do is you want to script it, right? You want to make a script, you want to make a plan, because really it's a short presentation. We're doing science in three minutes or minutes and harder. So it's really difficult, and you don't want to use your words, waste your words. I mean, short, it's not equal to talking faster, right? It's not, oh, I have 3 minutes, so I have to train myself to really talk faster, to squeeze a lot of information. So it's not about that. It's about it's about having less content, but really be careful about what sort of information you want to give, what words you want to use, so that nothing is wasted. There's zero waste of information if you're making short science format. The way I do that, and actually the way I do it for even longer talks, it really helps to structure a talk and presentation, is I decide on a topic and then I say, okay, can I sum up my topic, my main message, in 3 words? So think of whatever topic. So what's my takeaway message? What is what I want them to remember? So think about these 3 words or 1 sentence, and that's how you start your scripting with that, and then build around that, right? So build around it. So okay, for them to learn this, what info do I need to give them? This and that. Okay, to learn those terms, what do I need to give them? So script, build your talk from the main idea, know what your main message is, and then work towards that. If you start from the bottom, just let me start talking, you'll go on a different detours and directions before you end to your main topic. So start with the main goal, main message, and then construct around it. And especially when you give a short presentation, if you want to communicate science in short format, the structure really is important to help you not waste the words. You want to be clear on what your introduction, what's your conclusion, what's the body, what's the main message, and so that you know always where you're going, so words are not wasted. I mean, if it's a longer presentation, I usually devote 50% of my talk to introduction. It may seem a lot, but it's not, because that's what, that's making sure that everyone understands where we are, so then we can learn something new, right? So if it's in short format, 1, 3, 5 minutes, I usually split it to about 35% intro, 50% main, and don't avoid conclusion. That's your last chance to, again, repeat that main message that you want to make, about 15% of that. Now, an important thing, if you're choosing formats that go on YouTube, TikTok, and whatever, is really start strong, right? Can you, remember how many times did you start a YouTube video and skip after 3 seconds. Does it happen?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. So basically, people just make a judgment immediately. So you don't have to. I mean, I bet you have some cool, really cool, fun punchlines and jokes and so on somewhere in the middle, around minute 30 seconds. But yeah, people are not going to wait for that, right? So you really have to immediately start strong if you're going with stuff on social media and so on. And if you're making a video for general audience that just stumbled upon your channel. So because immediately they decide if they're skipping or they're staying. So start strong, something to grab their attention with a joke, with the anecdote, with some mystery and so on. So just so that they're a bit more longer and not just skip after 3 seconds. And then immediately put things in a wider context so that they can connect to some more general idea that they care about. And then build on that. So I think that is very important for short science communication formats. That really, really good start and strong beginning. And this is true for all the science communication things, not too much. So there's just so much information around science. I mean, we talk about, oh, there's Higgs boson, and someone discovered it and so. But there's so much work and so much info, so much theory, so much measurements went into that to get that one result, which we can see in 1-minute videos and so on. So it's really difficult to do triage and decide, okay, what should I drop, what should I keep, and so on, to decide what information is important. And again, short format is not equal to talking fast. So basically, you have to really choose your words wisely. You have to choose what bit of information is really essential here and what bit of information I can get away with and what I can get away without. So, and especially because if you're educating and people need to learn something new, if people are learning something new, they need time to process. Right? Okay, they can pause the video, but sometimes they don't. And it's really, I think, it's best if you talk slowly, more slowly, right? So give them less information, talk slowly so that people can process that information if it's new information while they're learning. So yeah, so if you're gonna talk slowly and it's gonna be a minute or 3 minutes, then you really, really need to choose carefully what bit of info is really necessary and what bit of info is not. Visual, okay. If it's gonna be, so you wanna pay attention on how things look like, especially if you're doing videos and so on. So it's good if you can, if it's in video format, if you have someone to help you with some good designs and with some graphic design. If you yourself are good at that, I'm not. I can notice what is pretty and what is not, but for the life of me, I could not make the graphic design of anything. So I just stick with white stuff. But for instance, when I'm doing, when I was giving TED Talks, and TED is mostly storytelling, TED Talks are mostly storytelling. You can use your presentation slides, but for instance, all my TED Talk slides were in a sort of picture format. It's just few pictures. Where can I see? There we go. I can play it from there. So it's just one picture and maybe a few words and so on. So because that's sort of it's not a lecture. So you can get away with few slides, but limit number of information and so on. So if you're doing things for video, then you also have to pay attention to how things are going to look like. Again, when we talk about visuals, pay attention that not to fall into that trap of having too much of the graphics that interferes with the effects of the information you are presenting. Because there are stickers flying out, popping up, noises being made, and basically all that is fun when you're making that video and so on, but it can really interfere with the information you're trying to pass. So don't go overboard with that. And then before recording and so on, or delivering a short minute talk on a competition or on a Science on Tap or wherever, you want to practice. You never want to do it, you know, first time live or first time recording. You just publish it like that. So because by practicing, you basically practice your timing, you're checking to see if things are running smoothly, and you're correcting it. But you don't want to practice too much so that it starts sounding fake, like you learn by heart. So you don't want to practice too much. Again, very important is for a message to get through is this eye contact, and that's how it helps with things being personal, right? So it helps with it. You look like you have nothing to hide. I can look in the eyes and I can tell you about the science. And I'm not hiding anything, and you can see and this eye contact is really, really important. I mean, if you're doing an interview for TV, they usually tell you don't look at the camera or look on the side, that's fine. But if you're doing a YouTube video, again, you're still trying to connect with the audience, and it's important to look at the camera to sort of make them feel like they have that personal connection with you, that sort of eye contact. In live audience, if you're sort of nervous, anxious about it, then it's tricky, I know, but it's really, even try faking eye contact, it's better than just doing like this or like this or like this, or, you know, like people avoiding eye contact. Then it just sounds, it looks like they have something to hide and people don't trust them as much. Yeah, and one more thing. Really, you have to make it engaging, right? And it's really, our attention span is short, and it's even in a 3-minute video, 3 minutes can feel like 10 minutes if it's boring and so on. So we have to be aware of that, and we have to make our science communication, even short formats, engaging. You know, and you do that basically with changing the pace, changing dynamics. The tone, the pitch, the tempo, breaks like this, you know, something that sort of make it, you know, vary across the board. I mean, if you're using video formats, you can use, you know, stickers and whatever pops out in those, whatever video editing you use. But if you're doing it live and if you're talking, you want to change your pitch, tempo, intonation, as some things dynamic to so that people are not bored. So here is one short video I made, a science video on the pressures when I was flying. Actually, I know from Frankfurt, and when bottle pops, collapses when a plane is landing. And I made that video and posted it on YouTube, and it's my Science Spy channel. I had this idea of making 3-minute, 14-second long science videos. I made this one, and then we have more time, so it's somewhere in there. I'm going to be making more. But anyway, I just want to show you attention span of the audience. Where is my? Okay, yeah, see. So basically, it's a 3-minute long video, and the average duration that people watch is 1 minute. For 30 seconds, so half, which is pretty decent, right? So usually people watch only a few seconds, so this is pretty decent. But even the really short videos, and I think it was a cool video, but okay, people don't watch, only a few people watch to the end. If you're doing the video editing, there's many simple tools. I mean, Mirza is going to be talking more about that, but really, if you're doing some video formats, they're really simple apps and phones now. You've seen the trailer on Connect that I showed you yesterday at the beginning. That is something I just made with the iMovies app. Here, just took a bunch of shots over time and just edited them on a phone. And of course, you have to have some ideas how that is going to look like. So, because I don't know, so I made a bunch of short videos. Basically, I used maybe 5% of those videos for the final video. Everything else I deleted. But you want to make sure that you vary, you know, your frames. It's a wide frame of a room. It's a big, large frame on the face. It's emotion, so some action, something is happening. It's a fun time. It's a downtime. It is coffee break. So you want to have a bunch of different sort of frames, different actions, and then you put them together in some adequate format. So I use iMovies. There is Clips is very good. InShot is very good. The different apps have different abilities. For instance, iMovies is tricky for if you want to use a lot of words. So a lot of text. Clips and InShot can do text, but they all come. Some are free, some are paid. If it's free, then features are limited. So you want to try out many different tools, and like I said, Mirza is going to be talking more about that. But try and see, am I going just visual? Do I use, do I need a lot of stickers and fun things popping out, bells and whistles? Do I need some text to go through my video and so on? So yeah, if you're using animation on a video, if it's something you pulled off from the net, watch out for the copyright. You know, you check the copyright. You have to credit someone. Is it free or not? Do you want to make your own animation like Mirza does and so on? So those are all things you need to worry about. Okay, so this is one more example of the in the iMovie trailer format that I used to make another promotional video. This is for instance, for our astronomical society. Do you have sound? Where is the sound? Is it working? Ja mislim da smo se povezali. Opet ne radi?
Da, malo jače.
So I use the same theme like for the Connect one, but now we're making an advertisement for a planetarium on Exit. We had a Exit Music Festival and we had a stage there. As you can see, I mean, it was done on the phone. You sort of have the idea what you want to do. I want to make a promotional video for our stage. Had a lot of different shots, and they have on iMovies their own templates, and you just decide the length of the frame, which frames, and you type in the words, basically. They have a template for where you can type in the words, but you sort of decide. So if you notice by the words and the text there, I sort of wanted it to make like a movie trailer. You know, you've seen a bunch of movie trailers, like how far will you go to find stars? You know, it's like, it's a typical, so use something to resemble that. So, you know, it just, you have to put in some thought into that, but it's not that difficult. Another promotional similar video I made like that with iMovies for our researchers night. Again, just to show you, so attention, it's a 1 minute long video. It's like this trailer, it's fun and interesting. But those, I mean, it's trailer. It's not informative. You're not learning any new science. It's like a commercial. And again, total minutes viewed, and only 400 minutes viewed in total. And if it's a minute-long video, that means like only 400 people viewed it in full. But basically, most of the people just watched it for 3 seconds. Average video watching time was 6 seconds. So just to show you how these things are really, really different depending on the type of a video. Promotional, not very informative. So yeah, 3 seconds. If it's educational, you want to make it that most of people watch at least half of it, right? So that sort of. And that depends on how you make it. Anyway, and even if it's is a short format. Really, if you decide on something, and people, and especially if it's live and not in video format where you can edit and cut and so on, you want to watch for the time. Stay within your time limit. If you're doing like a 3 minute, giving 3-minute talks, sure it's 3 minutes, but really don't go overboard. Maybe someone is next. That's what people. If you told people I'm going to be teaching you this science in 3 minutes, stick within these 3 minutes. So really, stay within your time frame. So yeah, that brings me to the end, and so it's really difficult to do science communication in short formats in a few minutes. I know it's more advanced level, but it's really, you learn a lot of science communication by trying to do that. You learn about choosing a topic, or you learn about basically how do I dissect the topic to make it, to find out the most important points, and how do I choose my words wisely. And the key points there, how you achieve that, is really first to have a really clear idea of what is your goal and what is your audience, who I'm making this for, and what I want to achieve. And then you make a script, structure it, have a clear plan, don't waste any words. And basically, it is still, it is less info. It's not talking fast, it's you're giving people less information, but that sort of thing will stay with them longer. You can give them a 45-minute talk, most of it, like 90-something%, they'll forget. Only a few words, few key points are gonna stick. So putting in effort to making short science communication formats is what is deciding on what do I want them to remember, and that is what will stick. And that's it for me. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, so.
Questions or comments?
Questions or comments? Yeah.
Because the most usual phrase on science conferences is, I don't have a question, I just have a comment. No one has questions. I'm just talking about this YouTube channels that you can use, that you can learn from them in science communication. Two more. It's okay to be smart, and in a nutshell, gut gesagt. One of my favorites. So they are really great.
Someone? No one? You all know what you want to do? Short science video group has no questions?
They have ideas.
Okay.
You're just more nervous now.
Oh, no. We forgot that they have presentations, so let's do that after coffee break.
Yeah, sure. Did you prepare
Okay,
the presentation?
so in 5 minutes.
We have more time for coffee today.